Hello there. Welcome to the toy shop. How may I help you today? You would like to find a toy for sleep? I can completely help you with that. Everybody knows in the ripe age of 3, you must understand that finding the perfect toy to sleep with is incredibly important. It creates a barrier between you and the waking world. It also creates many different ways for you to grow and to learn from. So finding the perfect toy is absolutely necessary. I completely understand. Do you need any help? Do you want me to go through some of our options? Yes, I can absolutely help you. You're a very well-spoken 3-year-old, I must say. However, I can go through the options with you if you'd like. Absolutely. How about we start small and work our way up, yes? Okay, let's do that. Alrighty, let's get started here. I believe let's start with something a bit conventional, yes? So here I have a little bit of a Kirby. Do you know what a Kirby is? Yes, that's right. This figure is featured in a lot of video games. However, this Kirby is a little bit different, you see. See, this Kirby, here, I'll give you a good look at him. At the side, you can see the back, you can see his little feetsies, and his top. So, what's interesting about him, if you do end up choosing Kirby, is that when you sleep with him, he's a very good protector. He can copy the abilities of any foe that dares disturb your slumber. However, one of the core issues with having Kirby as your sleeping toy is that he will teach you to be sort of unrelentlessly hungry. So you are going to gobble many different things, and you're going to develop a little bit of an oral fixation, if you will. It's going to be a bit difficult. You might go see a few therapists, a few psychologists about it, but you'll never, if you continue to sleep with him, you will never truly get over that. So it's really, if you think a really good protector is what you need, say, you've made enemies in a past life, I'm sure as a 3-year-old, I'm sure you remember, or anything like that, I think Kirby is a very good option, very good option. Okay, well, that's Kirby. Yes, and he's very squishy, as you can see. Yes, he can take a beating very well, so you'll know that he has very main character energy. Yes, so that is Kirby. Next, let us go with, again, well, maybe let's go with something a bit unconventional then. So here we have, what I can only describe as an alien creature in the form of wooden balls connected in a sort of human centipede-esque fashion. Now, what's interesting about this, I'll show you all the colours here. Now they sort of interconnect. You can sort of open them up like so. You can also close them up like so. And if you are smart, you can create it into a little shape, like a rectangle or a pyramid. Now, I myself, unfortunately, did not sleep with a toy that made me very smart. So this, is a little bit beyond me. But what I will tell you is that if you sleep with this, you get very smart. It is very intellectual, this toy. Now, a lot of aliens use this toy, and it is very effective. But there is a bit of a downside, right? Now, you might be a genius growing up, you might gain a lot of awards, what have you, but you're going to get the unfortunate trait of being very interested in monsters. And I don't mean in the normal way. I mean, you have a certain fascination with monsters. As you grow up, you might, seek love from these monsters, seek, romantic desire from these monsters, and it could lead to your demise. So, be a bit careful. when you choose something like this, because it could, it's a little bit of an Icarus flew too close to the sun situation. You might get very, very smart, but how smart do you want to get before you, just destroy your own being through desire? Yes? So, here we have, and just so that you are aware, this features red, orange, a little bit of a lighter orange here, right here, and then you have yellow, light green, green, and then dark green over here, and we have some blues, right, and then even some purples right here and right here. See that? Oh, it's a bit more red. Oh, it's purplish red. Yes? Okay. Okay, well, now that we've done that, that's a bit more unconventional. So let's go back to the conventional sort of sleep toy, yes? Let us go with our dear friend the carrot. This carrot is very fluffy and very big. Yes, he's about your size, actually. So, if I'm being honest, I think you might actually find a bit of, a bit of comfort in this creature's size. Now, if you end up taking this toy, now, not a very good protector. See these little nubbin arms and these little feetsies? Not very good at protecting, I'll say. But very nutritious, very, very nutritious. So as you sleep, you're going to get a lot of nutrients. So you're going to get very, very big, very bulky. You're going to gain muscle very easily if you go with this toy. And one of the things that's actually very, very interesting as well is that as you sleep with this toy, ostensibly your skin gets just a slightly bit more orange, just a little bit. Now, one of the issues that comes with this sort of toy, and this sort of sleep toy in particular, is that what you're going to end up doing is that you're going to, unfortunately, you're going to be very mole-esque. Now, people describe it as mole-esque, but because this is a carrot, you're going to feel very at home, cocooned within the earth, within dirt, right? So you're going to be very, you're going to love mud, you're going to love facials and spa days and that sort of thing, which sounds lovely if I'm being honest, but you'll also love just digging a hole and burrowing into it, and you'll love feeling a little bit dirty, a little dirt monster. That's something that you'll end up being if you have this toy, but you'll be incredibly powerful. You'll be very buff, very hulky, very hunky when you grow up, I'm sure. I don't presume to know. But what I do know is that you're going to develop muscles. So if you want to be very strong, this is a toy for you. Okay? Let's take another quick gander at him. Yes, see. Nice eyes. Sort of neutral expression. You have these little foliage, greenage. And the other side, surprisingly flat on the side, I will say. Yes, and you have look at these little embroidery details here. It's very lovely, I will say. And oh, there's his bottom. There's his top. There you go. Alrighty. Alright, so we've shown you a conventional toy. Now let's give you a bit of an unconventional sleep toy. So, let us go with, let's do this one. Here we go. Now, this is a new addition to to our sleep toys. Now, this is Ryan. And now, Ryan is actually very, a bit of a bad boy, this Ryan. And so, he's a lot more humanoid than a lot of our other toys, and a bit more plasticky. As you can see, he's very hard, hard-shelled. So, something to keep in mind with this lad is that you're going to learn to be very social. You're going to be very cool. Everyone's going to want to be your friend if you really decide to sleep with this sleep toy, because you're going to really absorb a lot of the aura that this toy is going to be having, really. But one of the issues is that you're going to exude so much aura because of this toy that you're going to end up being a bit of a, I don't want to be I don't want to be crass, so I'll just say you're going to be not very nice. Yes, a bit of a bully, let's say. And it's going to extend to your later years as well. So you're going to be the type of person that peaks at high school. This is the kind of toy that you would have, sort of as your sleep toy. So if you want to be someone who peaks at high school is your time to shine, and then afterwards it's all downhill. This is the toy. Okay. Now, try and then let's look at his little feetsies and his top. You can see here, and he's a bit of a bad boy. He's got even a cigarette. Alrighty, so let's go to another conventional toy. Let's see here. So you have this here. Absolutely. Now this is your typical teddy bear. Very lovely, very sweet. You can sort of look at her lovely, sad, droopy eyes, her little feet. She's sitting down even. Look at her. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And here you can see her side. She's a little, she's got an arch at the back. Here's her back. Very plain. Now, you're going to be very sweet if you choose this. You're going to be incredibly open. As comparison, if you sleep with this toy, what's going to end up happening is people will want to be your friend because they'll see you as, you're going to have some social cachet. Whereas if you go with this, you're going to be very sweet. People want to be around you because you're going to be incredibly earnest and endearing. But one of the issues, actually there's a couple of issues. So first of all, as you can see, you're going to have a bad back. You're going to be hunched, so it's going to be a little unattractive. But it's a lot of people hunch. It's really not that big of a deal. But one of the other things is that you're going to have a lifelong struggle with laziness. It's incredibly difficult. But you're going to have, you're going to have a love of honey, but you're going to be incredibly lazy. You're going to be motivated for very few things. And you'll love talking to people, you'll love interacting with people, but you'll really not want to do very much. And this is sort of what you get when it comes to this sort of toy, yes? When you sleep with this sort of toy, okay? Yes, and here, let's take a good look. One last look. Look at her. Amazing, 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 amazing. Could use some work. Okay. Alright, let's go to a bit more of an unconventional toy next, yes? So, let's see. How about you sleep, actually, with this? Now, I know what you're thinking. First of all, this is a little creepy. Yes, it's got a big grin, some teeth, nose. You got some eyes, some hard-shelled eyes, and this is all very hard plastic, yes? But the rest is kind of soft, except for the hands. You can sort of see the hands and feet. They've got the sort of the hard, and they can even be moved just a bit, just a tiny bit. You can see. Perfect. Yes. So this toy, if you decide to sleep with this toy, you are going to be the embodiment of a gremlin. You are going to be, people aren't going to want to be around you very much, but you're going to have an undeniable charm of being useful in some capacity. Sort of like, you could run the underworld of some kind, whatever that may look like, right? Or the underworld of your high school, the underworld of your work, of your career, whatever it is, but you're always going to be an underling. This screams underling energy. And what you're going to have to do is understand that you are not going to be leading people. You're going to be following, but you're going to be performing a lot of malicious compliance with this sort of toy. So, the aspect of this toy, it's a bit of a hit or miss, or a glass half empty, glass half full sort of situation where, you're going to be a bit of a prankster, but you're never going to reach the very top with this sort of toy. Unfortunately, that is not the downside for this toy. Yes, I know. I talked to the manufacturers, but they said that they thought that the prankster, sort of gremlin, that's the draw of this kind of toy. So if you don't want that, then you really shouldn't go for this. But if you do want that, then unfortunately, you are going to have a bit of a furry suit, if you will. You're going to be very hairy, which is not really a drawback, but it's going to be a bit of a drawback only because the hair is going to be blue or green, depending on which you choose. So it's just going to look a little unnatural, and it's going to look a little uncomfortable, but it's not that big of a deal. Some people might think of you as a Muppet, and that could be good for some people. So this is one of those options. So let's give you a nice good look at him. Oh, this is really a genderless toy, I'll say. There you go. There you go. And the top with the ears. Very lovely. Very lovely. Okay, so shall we go for another conventional toy? Absolutely. Well, let's go with this then. This is a watermelon cat. So watermelon cat. Very, very lovely. Very plush. This is the biggest toy that we have here. And mainly because we don't want you to suffocate with a bigger toy. So this is the largest that we dare go, and because of that, we only afford little feetsies. We don't even give them proper arms. But as you can see, this watermelon cat is incredibly sweet, incredibly light, very, very squishable, as you can see. Very, very good. And one of the main characteristics, if you choose to sleep with this sort of toy, is that you are going to be you're going to have an incredible sense of taste. And what I mean by that is not simply food, but also design or design, fashion, architecture. You're going to have very, very peculiar but a high level taste. People are going to look for you. You're going to be running the magazines, as it were. And that's simply because the watermelon aspect really represents that part of the personality. Now, unfortunately, there's a big drawback to this, and that's you're going to be a bit of a furry. Now, that's not a drawback for a lot of people, but, it's a cat. You're going to meow at people. You're going to embody an animal of some kind, and you're going to really get into that community. So, if that's for you, then that is absolutely perfect. But you are 3 years old, so perhaps this is not a choice that you should necessarily make at this current moment. But that is this toy. I will also say, if you want to get a better look, all these little seeds are embroidered. They're very lovely. And these arms are a little embroidered. It's just a hint of an arm. Then you also have the eyes, the nose and the mouth. And, of course, you have the whiskers. And here you can see the feetsies at the bottom. Could be a better bottom, I'll say. And the side. A lot of these toys don't have really impressive sides, they can be really skinny. Why aren't they fat? You'd want a fat toy, but it's neither here nor there. Then you have this and the top. Okay. So, lastly, let's go ahead and discuss our last toy here. That's going to be this one. It's lovely, a bit unconventional, it's a bit hard. It's hard plastic with a little leaf, because of course this is a hamster lemon. Now, what is the characteristics of this, you would say? Well, for one, you're going to be very sour. You're not going to be very jokey. You're going to be very serious as a person, and you're going to be very easily annoyed. You're going to be the straight man in every joke that happens around you. It's honestly going to be a bit of a, life is going to be a bit of a chore for you. But you are going to have the best ideas. You are going to be you're going to have the best focus, right? You are going to ADHD. You don't know her. You know how to focus. You know how to do what needs to be done. And that's what this toy gets you. Now, one of the drawbacks of this sort of toy, this is the bottom, is that you're going to be allergic to far too many foods. You know, it's a bit uncomfortable, you know, because when people are allergic to foods, you know, you really you want to really accommodate them, but you can't help but feel, you as in the person who is allergic, you can't help but feel that you're being a burden, so that's going to weigh on your mind for a very, very long time. Now, of course, you're not being a burden, and you know you deserve to, you know, enjoy yourself the way that everybody else does. But unfortunately, that is something that you cannot control within your mind. But you can focus. So, I would say that this is one of the better toys to go with, because relatively it's a bit minor. This sort of drawback. What's that? Why can't we create toys without drawbacks? But then, where's the fun in that? No. Every toy must have a drawback. So, with that, we have gone through the majority of our toys. Of course, we do have some other toys that we didn't really get to, but you can go ahead and look at them. There's descriptions for each one, where they're standing, and of course, you do have this one as well. You know, highly recommend having a quick look. Do you know how to read? You are 3. Oh, very, very impressive. But if you need any help, please let me know. I can help you sound out the words and sound out the letters. We'll go from there, okay? Okay, and do you have any money on you? Absolutely. Oh, you have your daddy's credit card. Absolutely amazing. I will be taking that. You can get as many toys as you'd like, okay? Okay, then. I will see you when you need me, okay?